Okay, so last time we forged out this little small 6-inch Bowie. Today we're going to clean up the profile, clean it up, start the bevels, and get it ready for heat treat. And if you remember from the last video, we did go ahead and thermal cycle. So all that should be done. Should just be clean up and get the blade looking more like a finished knife. Stick around. We'll use the new belt grinder for the first time with this, and I might share some of my thoughts, but let's get this thing cleaned up. Alright, we've got a used 36 grit. I just use a used one to clean up some of the board scale and some other stuff. We'll get after this. So I work by eye a lot, and what I like to do first is clean up the ricasso and get the ricasso flat and clean. As soon as I get that flat and clean, I typically will work a distal taper, so I don't really bother getting the whole thing flat at the same time. I'll get the ricasso flat and clean on both sides, make sure it's good and parallel, and then from there I'll work my distal taper down, normally on the large wheel, and rolling it. We'll show you that, but get the ricasso flat and parallel, and then I go from there. I also won't worry about stuff like this too much. I just worry about getting that area good, and we got lucky that there was no, but there's more work to be done. This will have a flat grind all the way up. That'll go out later. If you chase that now, you're just wasting your time. Now the ricasso's there. Just take a pair of calipers is all I ever use. I say I eyeball, but so from the 3 points here, here, and here, they're all the same thickness. So right now that's all I'm going to worry about. Let's get this. You know what? Because I got this new grinder, I won't flip over to the big wheel and bother changing the tooling arm. I'll just flip over this 5-inch wheel and get the rest of this roughly gone so that we can set up the profile. Change all that. Let's do our straights real quick first. Alright, we got our spine cleaned up. We still got a good flow with that, so let's switch this over. And let's get this 5-inch wheel working for us. Alright, 5-inch wheel's now ready to go. Let's get the rest of this cleaned up so we can do our final profiling. A couple of things I don't want to do. I don't want to worry about this area here at all. Just want to worry about the spine, and then not going into where I've already got my ricasso sorted out. Keep in mind any low spots through here. Now when I'm going to flat grind that, I'm not worried about it. I'm looking for overall evenness and then tapering down. And I can eyeball that quite a bit. So I'm not going to worry so much about the taper, but I do want to start thinning this out. Go ahead and start thinning the edge out, or the tip out a little bit. Alright, that's all I'm going to do for right now. I'm going to get my template out, get it on here, make sure it's close enough, and then we'll get the work rest on here and do a final cleanup. Okay, so we're set up here. We're going to lay our template down, Hiccup Bowie. And as I'm laying this out, we are not as close as I thought we were. If you noticed during the forging, I wasn't really referencing it all. I was going off of memory. If this is a custom job, you probably want to stop and just end it there and start over, and then come back to this another time. This isn't a custom job. It's one of mine. It's first time working with W2, so I'm going to push through based off of those things. So we're going to freehand a similar. It won't be exact as the Hiccup Bowie, but we'll freehand this and then we'll keep working on it. Alright, got it back to the flat guide platen, got the work rest on. What we are going to double check is that we are square. We'll get after this. Let's get this thing ground down and cleaned up. That was bad. Yeah. Okay, so after that little scare, this was tight enough. It wasn't me not wrenching down on this. Apparently, whenever I put this together, I did not. I would highly suggest let's put some torque specs or something on for this, because that thing, this one, was what was loose. Pay attention. Pay attention. I would say that that's my fault. I wouldn't blame the grinder for that. And now we are profiled. A couple things I always like to check is lay the knife on the spine. You notice I cleaned it up really quickly on that known square. I lay the knife on the spine, make sure we're still looking good. There's a little bit this way, but it's all right here. So whenever I taper that tang down, it'll go away. Aside from that, everything else looks good. I'm going to get my file guide on here and we'll get these shoulders roughed in. That'll take a little bit less of the belt. Well, I'll just cut the guide. Alright, that sorts out getting the shoulders roughed in. I am going to do it different than him. He would flip the knife over. You know what? Yeah, try like him. No, I'm not. I just can't do it. I can't wrap my brain around doing it. The video kind of stopped, but what I wanted to notate, I don't know if it's on there or not. We're getting there. We're slowly closing in on my plunge. What I want you to know is I am not standing square on this belt and keeping my arms tight like this. I am standing off to the side. I am still keeping my arms tight, but I'm not moving my arms. I am moving my body. I am shifting it from here to here. This is how I'm doing it. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I've got this bucket right here. I'm not wearing a respirator or any sort of breathing protection. That is definitely wrong. But that is my choice. You make your own choices. I am staying here and I am moving my body, keeping a good solid base, and I'm just shifting my legs. You do it however you do it. This is the way I do it. Alright, get this thing in focus here. Now I have transitioned my plunge line 60 grit belt. I'm going to leave this just as it is because I know it's just going to go away. I'm going to leave it as it is for now on this side until I get closer on the other side. Now what I do is I will set this plunge, make sure we're in frame. I will set this plunge here. I know my ricasso looks really short, what I would call super short, but after I'll come back in and get rid of that. That way it's just clean. It took me a while to figure that spot out, and I don't know if that's the way other people do it, but that's the way I do it. I set all this, and then I get rid of that at the end once I'm happy with the way everything else is. So 60 grit finish. You can tell I've got a spot right here. I got a spot right here where I am a little off. It's okay. This isn't final yet, so let's get the other side done. And we'll get y'all moved over to the other side, and let's try to do this with our other hand now. I want to show something here. See how that's going down right here? I'm not 1000% positive, but I'm sure that that's indicative of a low spot from where I used my 5-inch wheel and cleaned that up a little bit. That is not, and you can tell by your grinds and looking at how flat that grind is that you're doing. You know this is flat. The idea is that this is not flat. So don't spend too much time chasing that just in that spot. You will create problems. You need to chase that as a whole and make that as a whole. So that's what I'll do. I'll just keep going, and this is where you build in that margin of error. If you're doing it this way, if you're doing it other ways, it gets rid of your margins of error, and keep doing it that way. Now that low spot was really in there, and it has changed this knife quite a bit. You can tell. What I'm going to have to do is re-flat this, which is not easy to do, but I can tell right now, because of that low spot, I was not going to be able to keep that the same. So I will re-flat this real quick. I'm just going to start here and work it up until this goes down enough, and then bring back to where I don't have this transition back here. Now we double check our ricasso. .92. 1.89. A little bit off, a little bit thicker on the front. So the back is a little thick. .85, 1.85. And what we've done is brought that back to where we don't have that on that side. Now we just need to get this side to match. This is our dominant hand side, so it should be a lot easier. A little bit of water there. So we are really close to matching. Got a little bit left on the spine right here. Take that out after heat treat. A little bit left right there, so I will clean up. I don't like scratches going this way down my blade. I don't care if it's Greek mythology, Viking mythology, you know, whenever they use their belt grinders. I don't know where it came from, but I'm not a fan of that going into heat. So I'm going to clean up those real quick, get them all going one way. I'd like my crack to be invisible and along the blade if at all possible. I'm just going to clean up the tang a little bit real quick. Make sure we get out any warble on that, and then we'll be ready to go through a heat treat. Now the keen-eyed among you will notice that I have scratch lines going this way, and the elephants among you will remember that I don't like scratches going that way pre-heat treat. And here's what I'll say to you. Epoxy will hold this handle together if it cracks. Alright, we're going to go up to a 120 belt, do a final cleanup, and yeah. I'm not even going to use a new belt. We're not even going to play this new belt game today. I know some of you are all about it. Hey, I'm with you. It's got its benefits. Them doggone things are expensive. I don't know when that one stopped, but we're good. I double checked my dimensions. Everything looks right. Everything looks straight. A little bit of a wobble right here, but it'll come out. A little bit of a wobble right here, but we'll deal with that when we get the tang finalized after heat treat. So let's move over to the forge. Let's get this thing quenched. We got the martensite structure. Alright, so we got that quenched. Looks good. We did not overheat. Chainsaw file, sharp chainsaw file. That joke is hard. I will do a quick cleanup so I can see color, and this goes in for the tempering process. And that's a secret that I'll never tell anyone. A couple of things I want to clarify. Sorry if that fan is too loud. I'm not going to turn it off. A, I did not preheat my oil. It is 107 degrees, and I wasn't going to do that. Secondly, I don't do things the way other people might do them. I do things the way that works for me. I want to make tools that are dependable for the average Joe at an average Joe price.